Let's talk about this this new film that you've made called Mystic River, which you've directed from the novel by Dennis Lehane. I've seen it twice now. I think it's just a very remarkable piece of work. And I read the New York Times, which no doubt you did this morning. I got it sent from America, the review of it. Well, I mean, to say it's a rave review is to make the understatement of the year. When you saw the project, first of all, it was a novel, was it? That's how you came across it? And what was it that made you want to film it?
Well, actually, I came across it as a synopsis. I read the synopsis in a newspaper, and then so I went out and got the novel. Also, I had been familiar with Dennis Lehane. He wrote some detective stories, a series of detective stories over recent years, and but this was a whole different thing for him. This was a whole breakthrough novel, and I liked the story very much, and the way it was designed, and so I bought it. I said, I've got to do it.
What was it about the book itself that attracted you?
Well, it's a terribly emotional story, and there's something about the fact that you got this emotional sort of tragic story going along, and simultaneously with that you've got a detective story where they're trying to unravel it, and the two elements are sort of converging towards each other, and it's tough to explain really without, because it's a very complicated story, so you're just all going to have to go see it.
But it's a great drama, isn't it? That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a great drama, and it was a challenge to do it, and at this stage in my life, I'm always looking for the challenge.
What about the studios? Were they equally enthusiastic? Because, you see, this is a film that goes against the trend.
I think that the demographics are always looked at. So they say, what is the average theater-going age? I don't know what it is myself, but just guessing, say it's 12 to 18 or something like that. So let's got to make shows for 12 to 18-year-olds. I happen to think that 16, 17, 18-year-olds might enjoy this kind of a story, but they don't really get the opportunity very often because most things are geared around the action crowd or things that and special effects are so wonderful nowadays. They're done so well that they become the motor factor for doing a movie. The effects drive it, so the story has become secondary, where in the old days the story was primary, and then everything else sort of fit on top.
And that's always been your benchmark, the story, isn't it? That's really what you're interested in telling the tale.
Well, I think that's it is for me anyway. I figure without the story, there's really no use in being out there.
All the actors in it are without exception, wonderful. But Sean Penn's performance is one of the great pieces of screen acting I've seen in recent years. I think it's as good as that.
Well, I think he's an extraordinary young man. He's done an awful lot of good performances. He's rated very high on American cinema acting, or cinema or theater, and he's better than he's rated. And Tim Robbins and Kevin Bacon and Lawrence Fishburne. I just had a dream crew, actually, and Laura Linney and Marcia Gay Harden I'd worked with before, so I knew how great they were.
But when you with this central performance, which dominates the film in a sense, because it centres around this man's grief and the effect it has on him, it's extraordinary, amazingly powerful performance. You as a director, when you see that coming at you, I mean, what part do you play with it? What's your job? Yeah.
Well, the main thing is to try not to screw it up. You know, just kind of when people come in and they're well prepared, and these people all were. You just main thing is you set a nice atmosphere so everyone doesn't get their adrenaline up too early, and then we start the scenes out.
When you look at the film now, what do you make of it? Is it too soon for you to have a judgment on it?
I don't make anything of it.
You don't?
Well, for me, it's very difficult because I've shot the film last fall. Here we are this fall, and now I've edited throughout the year and done all that sort of thing. So I've looked at it so many times that I don't really. It's not for me to really talk about or think about much anymore. I just kind of present it out there, and now it's the child that's grown up, and it's time to go leave home.
I think that, from my own point of view, that if The Unforgiven was a masterpiece, then I think that this is equally so. I think that they're just two great defining films in your career.
Well, your lips to God's ear, I think.